fact, the best news of the day has been the fact that in Assam, in the 5 constituencies there, and Tripura has also seen very good voting. In the 5 constituencies in Assam, if I'm not mistaken, the number is somewhere going to end up around 75% voting. That's the best news of the day. Now, the other big story has been the BJP manifesto. We've been talking about it. We talked about the development issues, economic promises, unemployment, subsidies, etc. Now let's go back to the politics, and I'd like to welcome the panelists as I introduce this panel. And I'm very happy that MJ Akbar makes a comeback on the news. I'd like to see that as an endorsement of his enjoying the debate. I won't be presumptuous about him.
Done.
Because yes, thank you. Sudhindra Kulkarni is also looking forward to the debate. Pawan Verma of the JDU. Gaurav Bhatia, welcome. Ami Yagnik of the Congress Party, welcome. Pawan Verma, there are 2 ways of looking at it. One is that as far as the Ram Temple issue is concerned, it's not like 1998 when they did not mention it in the NDA. They were the NDA then. They've abridged it. That's one way of looking at it, and someone like you, who would be described as a pseudo-secularist by MJ Akbar, perhaps should be happy that it's been abridged. The other way would be to say that no, they have made another mention which says that India shall remain a natural home for persecuted Hindus. Not persecuted Sikhs, Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, persecuted Hindus. And persecuted Hindus will be welcome to seek refuge here, which seems to be a bit of a contradiction with the established fact that India is a secular state, does not discriminate between religions. In your view, has the BJP gone more hardline in terms of its core issues or less in this manifesto?
Arnab, first let me congratulate you on your indefatigable stamina for discussing the BJP manifesto.
Well, even the Congress manifesto.
No one else could have done it.
No, I have discussed the Congress manifesto too. Thank you for that backhanded compliment.
I just want to pay you a compliment.
Thank you.
Arnab, I mean it. I mean it sincerely. Since you've been discussing the manifesto, Arnab, I want to just put five points for you. They will take 30 seconds. So that the debate opens up and perhaps some of them can be answered.
Fine.
Firstly, Arnab, let's admit, and it's true also that the Congress's performance on governance and development and other issues has been suboptimal.
Fine.
But today the BJP has offered for the last few weeks through their supreme leader the possibility and the promise of converting India into a swarg in the next 5 years, a veritable heaven. So I want to see the BJP manifesto from this point of view I want to ask sincerely, please give me one new refreshing idea in the manifesto which goes beyond a statement of intent and provides even cursorily a roadmap towards deliverables. Because it is in keeping with somewhat the campaign of the Supreme Leader of making promises but not being
Name
available
him. Why do you keep referring to him as Supreme Leader?
The second point is, I think that's what he is, Arnab. Thirdly, there is a part of that manifesto, Arnab, which has an ideological content. I'll come to the Ram Mandir. Give me a second only. It talks all the time of the exaltation of the state. India first, Bharat Shresth.
What's wrong?
Which is nothing wrong with it. But I want to just pose a question. Whether in the somewhat jingoistic exaltation of the state, is the BJP manifesto shutting out space for legitimate affirmative action for the weakest and poorest sections of the people sanctioned by the Constitution?
Okay, fine. Now MJ Akbar responds. No, MJ Akbar responds. No, let him. You said 30 seconds. You've taken 4 times as much
for the
time.
debate. No. I've taken 20 seconds, Arnab. I just want to raise an issue. On the Ram Mandir, which you began with, the Hindutva agenda, I just want to say that it has been a very, very clever camouflage attempt to hide the Hindutva agenda under the garb of governance and development, because if you look at it,
Okay.
not only have the old issues been resurrected, new ones have been added. There is 370, there is Uniform Civil Code, there is Ram Mandir, now there is cow slaughter, there is reformation
That's
of
not
the
a new
madrasa
issue. That's not a
system
new issue. That was
without
always
any
there.
mention of it being
That
a
was always there. No.
without any mention
No,
of
no,
a
on cows, it was
without
always
any
there.
mention of a consensual exercise. And lastly, we needed much more on center-state relations.
You've
This
added, no,
country
I
is
asked you
looking
one
forward
pointed
to
question.
a more
No, Pawan
well-defined federal
Verma, Pawan Verma, it's a very interesting tack. I compliment you also. That I ask you a pointed question, you say I'll give you a pointed reply, you take 30 seconds, you put me on the back foot. And then you proceed to enumerate about 7 points in about 5 times as much time. I asked a question on the Ram
Five,
temple.
five, only five.
I request my MJ Akbar to be pointed. Now, MJ Akbar, almost in an embarrassed manner, a cursory reference to the Ram temple, fine. But where did this come in from? India is a home for persecuted Hindus. India should be a home for persecuted people from all religions.
Arnab, by the way, on the issue of Article 370 as well as on the Ram temple, the manifesto makes one thing very, very clear, that issues that have been the source of conflict should have conflict resolution by consensus. On Article 370, all the stakeholders will give the views and then we'll form a consensus. On the Ram temple issue, which is very, very clear that it will be through the constitutional process. We are in a democracy.
But has there been a
the
dilution?
Ram temple actually has a history which is what is stated today is the position that is the position of the present and the future.
Not the
Ram
past.
temple has been around with us for 150 years.
Not the past.
150 years.
It's a world of difference from 1998.
Every party has a past. I mean, we can't forget that the first time puja was done at Ayodhya was under Jawaharlal Nehru, and the Shilanyas was done by Rajiv Gandhi. We are trying to find a future, and a future within the democratic space with the democratic
What about
spirit.
this other one which you
And
which
therefore,
you duck?
I think it is
MJ
very
Akbar, you
important.
duck it?
I
haven't
really
known
do
you to
want
be a person who
I
ducks.
really do want Arnab.
I haven't known you to be a person who ducks.
No, 1 minute. May I first, play this one sort of straight, which is that, it's on page 42 or 43. Each time we think of Hindu-Muslim questions, I'm a little saddened by the fact that we only think of issues of violence. On page 17 of the manifesto is something that is far more important, at least as far as I'm concerned, which is where the problems of minorities have been dealt in real terms, which is education, jobs.
Nobody's
the
contending on
modernization
that.
of madrasas.
That's not an issue of contention.
No, modernization of madrasas.
The issue of contention
the
you duck.
promotion of Urdu.
You duck the issue of contention. The issue of contention is I draw your attention,
No.
MJ Akbar, to where the part goes about guiding principles of our foreign policy. And in that, tucked away in a line,
Sorry?
I take you to
The
the part
guiding
which talks about guiding principles of foreign policy. Please see the manifesto. Mr. MJ Akbar, you'll see it there.
Yes.
In that, tucked away in one line, please, is one line which says, India
Right.
shall remain a natural home for persecuted Hindus. Now, I am asking you today, please, you are a secularist, a man who believes the BJP does not discriminate on the basis of religion. Why did you say persecuted Hindus? And if you feel I am wrong, correct me.
You know
but
why?
my reading is that this is there. Why Hindus? Was that aimed at
Arnab, you know
Nagpur?
why? Arnab, shall I tell you why? And let me give you the real answer. In 1947, the population of minorities in Pakistan was 20%. I remember when my book Blood Brothers was released in Pakistan, very proudly they informed us that the population of minorities in Pakistan had gone down to 2%.
No, but why didn't you? No, you are not talking here about
And
Hindu migrants from Pakistan.
yes.
You are saying
Exactly.
India is a home for persecuted Hindus. Now I find, by saying that,
No.
Let's get a third view. No, let's get a third view. Let's get a third view. Ami Yagnik, what do you think? By saying that, you describe how will a person from a Muslim community or Sikh community or Jain community, right, or a Christian community, or a Buddhist community,
by the way,
believe how is the BJP feeling?
By the way,
discriminating on the basis of religion so openly in its manifesto.
From Afghanistan, the number of refugees from Afghanistan is also very high.
But the reference
coming under Mr. Vajpayee's governance.
Is there a reference to geography in this? MJ Akbar? There's only a reference to religion that I see. Is there a reference to geography, Sudhindra Kulkarni? Was there a mistake in your view? Was this part a mistake? Sudhindra Kulkarni, was this a mistake?
No,
does it take away from the overall?
The reason is, Arnab, is because India is the only country with a substantial number of Hindus.
Why? No, that does not make us a Hindu state. Come on, MJ Akbar, sir. That does not make us a Hindu state.
There is no way we are not a theocratic state.
Then why did you add this line throughout the line?
Absolutely not.
Disown the line.
Because of a certain reality of this is the fallout of partition.
But the reality
has not yet been sorted out.
No, you are saying okay.
You know that I don't want to, but I would rather go back to the Liaquat Nehru resolution of 1950. What did the Liaquat Nehru resolution of 1950 say?
Mr. Akbar,
this is what the solution was found.
Mr. Akbar, the point is simply this. The point is this, and I must. This is a point of contention, Mr. Akbar, because if you raise the issue of geography, I can equally argue in another context. Let's get Sudhindra Kulkarni, Ami Yagnik. Say we disagree on this. Let's get the others in on this. Okay, because see, the BJP will always be under a scanner for whether you're reflecting in your deeds, thoughts, actions or manifestos any bias towards a religion. You've been accused of it by Pawan Verma. Now the question is, did the BJP express equal concern over the violence directed at the Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar? That's also a neighboring country. Where they are religious minority by Buddhists. So is discrimination of Muslims by Buddhists in our geographical region not something we should be concerned about? Then we should also be a home for them. So that's just a point of contention. Now, may I get you in, please? Mr. Akbar, let's hear other views on this. Sudhindra Kulkarni, this particular point, your response.
This particular point was certainly avoidable in the BJP manifesto. As a responsible political party, especially a party that claims to govern India for the next 5 years, so let's see whether it happens or not. But a responsible party would say that there should be no persecution, no injustice to religious minorities, either in India or in any of our neighboring countries, be they Hindus, Muslims, Buddhists. That is the right approach to take.
So what would you say to MJ? MJ is defending it in a certain geographical context.
No, they should not have been reference only to Hindus
they should
in the
not
BJP manifesto.
They made a mistake.
This is not supportable.
Well,
but I want to make a broader point if you permit me. See, this manifesto, if you read it cover to cover, which I have done, has many good points and also certain weak points. The weak point is that even though it says that for the BJP, the Constitution of India is the only epic, and that's only epic. They regard the Constitution of India as, let's say a sacred text.
Sure.
But the preambular principle of the Constitution is secularism.
Where have they violated that?
There is no mention of secularism in the entire manifesto.
No mention? Does it need to be mentioned?
Of course it has to be mentioned.
No mention of secularism.
It has to be mentioned.
It has to be mentioned.
It has to be mentioned.
Fine.
Nevertheless, I agree with MJ that the section on minorities is something very welcome.
Do you need to mention the fact that we are a democracy?
We have to mention.
We have to mention fundamental rights.
Arnab, why a political party, a responsible political party, has to pledge its commitment to the basic principles.
Come on, I think you're narrow focusing.
No.
You see a conspiracy there?
I'm mentioning something that has not come into the debate, Arnab, which is very important. In the manifesto, for the first time, the BJP says that we shall establish a consultative mechanism for interfaith harmony, which is a welcome point.
Yes.
There is also a lot of mention on, economic, social empowerment of Muslims, which also is welcome.
Yes.
Having said it, there seems to be some ideological confusion on the secularism.
So you're saying here that they are trying to make some right noises, but it's not driven by the sheer force of conviction. If that force of conviction had been there, your argument is, then there would have been a direct reference to secularism. This reference to India being a natural home for persecuted Hindus would not have been there, and therefore, MJ Akbar, listen to the strain of the argument. You're trying too hard, but it's not coming from the force of your conviction. Ami Yagnik, your response, two very interesting arguments there from MJ Akbar, Sudhindra Kulkarni, Pawan Verma. Gaurav Bhatia, I'll come to you. Ami Yagnik.
Arnab.
Oh, okay.
Did you ask me Arnab, by the way?
That line,
just let Congress party come in and then I'll come back to you. Yes.
That sentence which you just mentioned about persecuting.
Not persecuting.
That summarizes the conduct, action, persecuted Hindus to be brought to India as their homeland. The sentence summarizes the conduct, the action, the ideology and the vision of the party. And you can very well imagine that by pushing it on the 40th page or the 41st page, the document still remains on their ideology. The rest of it is cut-paste from the Congress manifesto. The only thing is that because they have not applied the mind, they have not shown how they are going to do it. We in the Congress manifesto have given the way how we are going to do all this as put in the manifesto by giving a right base to the people of this country, rights.
No, why would they copy you?
They have not been able to tell how they are going to go about.
Well, this whole copycat argument has to stop, Ami Yagnik, now.
Manifesto. Yes, the copycat argument, the only real manifesto is the 3 points which have been there continuously from 1999. If you take the Ram Mandir, only one word is added and that is within the constitutional framework. We have to give them credit for using the word constitution.
And who did you, okay fine, so who did you copy from? No, Ami Yagnik, just a minute. No, 1 second, 1 minute, please, let's not, please understand this, okay? You want your, to be stuck on one point. Ram Mandir 1998 manifesto. I asked the question. I think they have abridged on Ram Mandir. They brought this other part in. But on Ram Mandir, they have said legal, judicial and constitutional framework. What are you apprehensive about? What are you condemning? Is it wrong to say legal, judicial and constitutional framework? You want it to be to Ram Mandir to happen in an illegal, extrajudicial and unconstitutional method?
They realized that they have to do everything within the constitutional.
And are you on a sticky wicket? Are you on a sticky wicket?
Everyone is within the constitutional.
Are you on a sticky wicket?
Why should they mention it at all?
1 second.
That means whatever they did in 92 or for the last 2 decades was unconstitutional.
1 minute. Now he'll respond. But Gaurav Bhatia must take a non-political position on this. No, but the Gaurav Bhatia, the problem is Gaurav Bhatia's enthusiasm for criticism dies down when he sees a Congress person on the other side. It rises like our Twitter trend tonight. And by the way, Modi manifesto hashtag is India's top #1 Twitter trend. So there's a lot of interest in this debate we are having. Gaurav, be honest today. Tell the Congress party that they are the ones on a sticky wicket because they use their manifesto for vote bank politics. They are the ones who hint at bringing reservations in the private sector. They are the one who are, because they want the SC, ST, OBC community to be on their side just before the elections. Each time before the elections, they bring up this issue of reservations in the private sector. On the other hand, would you compliment the BJP for abridging the reference on Ram Mandir? And that too, re-emphasizing that it would happen within a legal, judicial and constitutional framework. Come on, Gaurav, here's your opportunity to be non-political for once. At least non-political in the nature of your response, absence of bias.
Arnab.
Yes, and then MJ Akbar will respond.
Let me first just remind you that when the Congress manifesto was released, it was the Samajwadi Party which criticized the manifesto, saying that they are playing with the
some
feelings of a particular
criticism.
community.
Superficial
when they
and
start talking
criticism.
about reservation for minorities only. No, just listen to me. Don't interrupt me, please. Don't interrupt me. The Congress only thinks of a particular community during elections. They are not consistent with their stand, and the Samajwadi Party had criticized their manifesto and their action. But more importantly, in today's BJP's manifesto, I would like to say one thing, which I think you are adding. I have the manifesto with me.
What am
they
I
talk about the Ram Mandir, and what they have done by talking about Ram Mandir is they say that we will facilitate the construction of Ram Temple within the framework of Constitution.
Yeah. So what do you want?
This matter is pending before the Supreme Court, and say tomorrow a government comes, even if it is the BJP government.
So what's your point,
they have to be
Make it directly,
towards both the communities.
Fine.
My point is this, that they have already taken a stand in favor of a particular community, and they have let down the other community. The Union of India has to take a neutral stand, not in favor of a particular community. And the two words that you were harping on, you said legal and judicial. The legal and judicial term has not been used in their manifesto.
Fine. So
Second
I get your
point, Arnab, is that the Setu Samudram that they talk about.
MJ Akbar responding.
Also is a matter pending before the Supreme Court.
Okay. Pawan Verma also comes in, please. We let MJ to respond to both of you after that. Yes, Pawan Verma. What are you jumping to?
Because before MJ replies, Arnab, I want to ask you, have you read the introduction to the manifesto? I'm sure you have.
I have. Which
it's
is the
very
specific point?
revealing 2 pages.
Yes.
Because I want to say to you, the introduction is the key because it extols, and not wrongly, ancient India before the pre-medieval period. Every achievement is given of that period, and nothing is mentioned even remotely about
what conspiracy are you smelling?
Years, which gives...
What conspiracy are you smelling?
Please understand what I'm saying, Arnab. I am saying to you that if there is a key to understand the manifesto and the continued presence of a certain mindset of thinking, there is not even a mention in the extolation of Indian civilization of anything after the ancient Hindu period. The after pre-medieval India, as if India has never existed.
Okay, so
1,000 years of a Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb and the enrichment
all
of
right,
culture.
Okay, so you gave up on the medieval period, gave up on centuries of Indian history. Gave up.
I want to ask you, what does it
have
mean?
Acted in a responsible manner?
Fine. So you
Why couldn't they say that they would work with both communities to find an amicable solution?
Okay.
They could have mentioned that in their manifesto.
No, one second. No. So two arguments there, right?
We will construct a Ram temple.
No. 1 minute. 3 arguments. Okay. 1, no reference to secularism. MJ Akbar, I want specific replies. Avoiding the secular word. That's what Sudhindra Kulkarni says. Okay. Secondly, why are you picking up a subject which is in the judicial arena? That's what Gaurav Bhatia says. And third, you give up the entire...
And you favor a community.
You don't talk about centuries of Indian history because you think that will mean extolling what the Mughals and others, I think that's the reference, have done to the great civilization of India and added to the civilization of India. MJ Akbar, come on, respond. Whoever you want first.
Let me say very, very, very clearly that the moment you say that the only religion of anyone in public office is the Constitution of India, then you go on to repeat and say that the only epic, the sacred text of Indian politics is the Constitution of India. And the Constitution of India says that secularism is a basic plank. You are endorsing that. 3 weeks ago, there was a book which was released called Muditva. 14 points, so it began, the opening sentence of it was on secularism, and it defined secularism as the equality of all faiths before the law.
MJ Akbar, this
number 2,
very line destroys the essence of the entire manifesto, because you are favoring a community. Why couldn't you be neutral towards both communities? Why couldn't you say that you will settle it in an amicable manner?
Counter questions allowed, but Sudhindra Kulkarni wants to ask a counter question to MJ Akbar. Sudhindra Kulkarni has a counter question. Gaurav Bhatia, just a minute. That was Sudhindra Kulkarni's point to MJ. Yes, Sudhindra Kulkarni satisfied with MJ Akbar's judicial arguments. 1 second.
MJ is saying that the BJP has pledged its adherence to the Constitution of India, and therefore there was no need to explicitly speak about secularism. You see, that is
what?
What?
Please be direct. Are you trying to be polite with MJ?
Intelligent argument, but the fact of the matter is that in India, there's a very serious discourse going on about secularism. And in the past, the BJP itself has said it is pseudo-secularism, and we believe in genuine secularism and positive secularism. Here was an opportunity and also a requirement for the BJP to exactly say what it means by
I'll give
secularism.
MJ one counter rebut.
Now, I want to say one more thing. You see, the BJP, this manifesto, please, please, MJ, I have another important point to make. This manifesto actually shows the BJP moving in a zigzag manner towards a moderate position. It says at one point that the BJP believes in India being one country, one people, one nation. In the past, it said BJP believes, or Jansangh believes in India as one country, one people, one culture. Now, one culture formulation has been now left out, which is a good thing, because it means that the BJP now accepts the cultural diversity of India.
So that's good.
Now, cultural diversity, next is religious diversity. Accept religious diversity. Accept respect for all faiths. Well, that is secularism.
Okay, now should we
say it explicitly?
Okay, should we give MJ a chance to reply to also what Pawan Verma says? I'm not sure of this. Was there this selective editing of centuries of Indian history to keep certain parts out, which is Pawan Verma's charge against you?
No. In fact, Arnab, in fact, I'm forgetting the name of the person, but the person that begins the opening quotation is from a Muslim scholar in Umayyad, Spain, who actually wrote at that time, and this must have been the 14th century if I'm not mistaken, which is well into what is called the rule of the Muslim sultans, that India is a fountainhead of wisdom and a great source of innovative products.
It's a
that was the
tribute to the past.
That, yes.
No, what's wrong? Pawan Verma, concede.
Yes,
you concede.
It's nothing.
Pawan Verma, you concede.
Wrong with that.
I'm just making a point. Arnab, please understand that there is an explanation.
May I also have the mild privilege of actually completing the point I'm making?
But I'm saying 1,000 years of history.
That that there is that it's not just 1,000 years of history. It's a question also of what, everyone recognizes that before the British colonial period, as I began by saying that one of the great problems of the British colonial period was the creation of the great rift between Hindus and Muslims. And over again, I must stress that the program that was released in the name of Narendra Modi as his fundamental critique of governance and what he was planning to do, the opening paragraph of that which I released said that India is a secular nation and secularism is the equality of all faiths before the law.
1 minute left. Ami Agnik and Gaurav Bhatia, Ram Temple issue.
I would also like to see.
I allow one counter question.
Now the issue remains on Hindutva. On Hindutva and the ideology is
I'm glad to see that people accept moderation.
It may be on 41 page, but the fact remains that they have not deterred from their earlier manifestos, and they are still on those 3 points which they did not discuss in the last 10 years, never even chose to speak about it, but nonetheless they made it very clear in the manifesto that this is what we stand for.
Shorter time.
Arnab, I think it is clear from the manifesto that their real face is about communalism. And very importantly, I would say it would have been more secular for the BJP to say that we would talk to both communities and then find a solution. Why did they favor a particular community? It is not what is expected from a responsible party which aspires to form the next government. They've let down the minority of this country.
I propose a detailed debate over the next weekend on the manifestos of the critical major parties. Now, whatever people may say, manifestos don't matter, people have made up this mind. I think there is very much a lot of scope to discuss these issues in great detail. We intend to do that on the weekend. To MJ, to Ami Yagnik, Gaurav Bhatia, Pawan Verma well argued, Sudhindra Kulkarni, it's good to see both of you together, ex-journalists battling it out. It's good on other sides, Thank you very much for joining me on this debate tonight.